Hi everyone. Oh my god.
We just need, you know,
Just some decor.
some abstract.
We're just gonna put that there. Cheers. Hi everyone, what's up? Welcome back. I have a really special guest here today. This is Fatima. We have been friends for years. Bad Fati or Fat or Chat with Fat, whatever you want. I thought today we would do a video about dating in general, and also because I dated Fatima's brother. She's just gonna slip that in there, like super casual, like dating your best friend's brother. I dated Fatima's brother. Congrats, Mario. I just had a baby. Fatima's brother a while back. I've had boyfriends after that. We're good. I'm still traumatized, but and I thought I could talk to you in case that this is your case too, because I don't know. I think it would be a fun conversation to have, and I don't think it's. I mean, with us, I think it was easy to navigate because we've been friends for a very long time. But I think maybe with somebody else, it's not as easy. So. And it started off as a joke. So this wasn't like they saw each other in a room of crowded people, and then I ended up being the sister. My brother, actually Swanee, was bored. She was bored. It was a casual like Tuesday afternoon, and she asked, she just wanted to text me people. My brother happened to be next to me, eating like a pig, and I told him, I was like, oh, can you do me a favor and text this girl from your phone? And he goes, and text my desperate friend. And text her and just mess around with her. So then he ended up texting her. And haha, I finished my lunch, got up from the kitchen, and left. Little did I know, he continued texting her, like, for long periods of time. And then out of nowhere, he comes into my room and says, can I see a picture of your friend? Like 2 days later. I'm like, I'm sure he had already seen me because she had pictures of us all over her room. Yeah. And he was like, which is your friend? And I pointed her out, and he was like, she's super pretty. I was like, yeah, she was 9 years old when you were 30. Little did I know, one day we were working out, Swanee and I, and she was 19 and not 9. But we were working out, and she goes, why don't we go to Flanagan's? Flanagan's is like, if you don't live in Miami, it's like a neighborhood sports bar. It's really ratchet. And she was like, it's not the way I described it. Guys, it was literally, we were in a boxing class. Swanee was like on her phone during the boxing class, and then out of nowhere goes, why don't we just go to Flanagan's in Hialeah on a Saturday night? It's like saying almost like, what would the equivalent be like in other parts of the world? Like I don't know, Olive Garden, I guess. The like Golden Corral. Garden. Why don't we go to the Golden Corral? Anyway, so I was like, I hate that journey for us. And then we ended up there. When we showed up, lo and behold, there was my brother at the bar with one seat next to him, who was definitely not reserved for me. It was for Swanee. And then I just got there, and I don't know, that was like our first time meeting, and it was super chill. Yeah, like it was so chill. We hung out there. Fatima was like, this is fucking weird. And I just ordered a drink. Yeah, she started drinking, but she was like low-key happy. She's like, yes, babies. Me and her brother spent the whole night together. We ended up in the morning on the beach, like really far away. I don't know where it was. Were you guys like on a boardwalk? We were on a boardwalk like in Hollywood, which is like 40 minutes away from Miami. And I just thought it was gonna be like a one night, like, oh, it was fun meeting you at, you know. Yeah, it was fun hanging out. Yeah, and I can't date you because your sister's my best friend. Oh yeah, that I was never even asked. I just want to throw that out there. I was never asked. It was more of like a. Then Swanee was in Thanksgiving dinner with us, and then she was like for Christmas with us, and then she was buying me pajamas, and then there we were taking family pictures of all of us in matching pajamas, and it was never like, oh, this isn't just Swanee hanging out with me. This is Swanee dating, you know, my brother. Yeah. And then, so the good part about it was because we were friends for such a long time already, and we had like a good like friendship foundation. I was able to talk to her about like the issues that I was having with him, and I think it's because we have that relationship where we always like talk about like guys and our relationships, and it's like always like an advice sort of thing. So I talked to her about all the issues that I was having with her brother, and she was able to like help me like navigate it and be like, don't do this or do that. This is how Mario works. So I had like an in. Especially with Miriam, who is her mom. who really wanted the relationship to work. So she was always like talking to me too, and I don't know, I feel like you guys were always on my side whenever I had issues with mom. My mom would always be like, oh, Swanee's too good. And I'm like, damn, you know it'd be like that when the mom's like, no, Swanee's probably right. I know Swanee, she's the best. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, no support from the family side for him. So that was interesting. Go to his house, and you met his daughter. I met his daughter, who I already had met because we've been friends for so long. But I met her more of like, you know, somebody that's dating her dad. And that was really fun, meeting Sophia and like hanging out with her. But it was also difficult to navigate because I don't think it's ever easy when the person that you're dating has a daughter and has a previous relationship and has like, you know, so much that in their past. That's always difficult, and it's never like easy for the new girl who's like dating them, especially when it's like you don't have your kids of your own or anything, and you're so young. Like the age difference was pretty big.
What do you think was the most difficult part dating somebody who had a child?
I think the most difficult was definitely like in my mind, thinking that maybe he would want to go back with his baby mom, because you just never know. I feel like the bond between two parents is so strong, and especially when you have a kid together. And I think that like for me that was most difficult because that was something that I would think about in my mind, but it was something that he reassured me that wasn't going to happen. But it's still like, I feel like as a woman you still think about it. You still even think about like people's ex-girlfriends even when they don't have kids together. So that was like just a difficult thing to go through. I think in that instance, you just have to trust the person you're with, like the partner you're with, whatever he or she is saying, and just trust that. There's really not much you can do, and just try to like manage your thoughts if they're negative, or talk through them about like what you're thinking or going through.
Us as women, I think we're like naturally very intuitive, and we have all these questions and we're constantly thinking. Like, I really don't think our brains ever stop. Like, I think it's important sometimes to like accept that a person has a past, that you have your own past, and move, you know, kind of start on a clean slate and move from there. Because I think the more information, or the more you dig around or poke around for information of somebody's like previous marriage or their children or things like that, it could just become very like dark very quickly. And I think it's nice to kind of start off in a new slate, new chapter, and give the person the opportunity to just, you know, like win your affection and just start a new relationship with you. And I think when you start poking around for questions and doing your own research on a previous relationship, going through their Instagram pictures, looking through Facebook.
Yeah. Everybody does it.
Yeah, we really do all do, and it has nothing to do with like being a confident girl or an insecure girl. Like, everybody wants to know, you know, about the person you're with. I guess we can go into like, what did you learn most about dating an older man? Like, I think that you're somebody that's you're what? Yeah, oh, for sure. I think because all of us were raised by very like strong like mother figures, like mothers who like always like supported us, and were always going after their dreams and working very hard, right, and not necessarily dependent on any man. Mm-hmm. I think we always were a little bit mature, very mature from an early age. So I think it helped. I'm sure it helped a lot in the relationship with my brother, who was like 10 years older than you. Mm-hmm. But what do you think was like the biggest learning curve, or something that you learned the most about yourself or in the relationship about dating somebody who's significantly older than you?
Mom.
This is where you catch it live, guys. Now this is live. I'm just gonna chug. I mean, I guess that's a really heavy question, but I'm always interested, like,
yeah. I think like when I was dating your brother and when I was younger dating other people, I was more willing to like compromise like bits of myself, like pieces of myself, and the things that I maybe thought that were irrational, or like the things that I needed that I was willing to compromise for like somebody else. But I think now I'm like a little bit less willing to compromise and more of like sure of myself. And if I have an issue, I will say it, and I won't, you know, circle around it or try to figure out how to say that to somebody, or like how to say that to my partner. Like, I'll just be really straight up. Like, sometimes it's too much. But I think at the time, I was just very young in that way, where I was just like not scared, but like I was just kind of like, oh, like I don't want to end the relationship. Like, how do I say this, or how do I like bring this up, and like, is he gonna get mad if I say like, you know, we need a kitchen before you do the landscaping and like shit like that. a little bit more afraid to share my opinion and like stand my ground as a woman. I feel like you should in a relationship stand your ground as a woman, and that's something that I learned after, and that's something that like going back to the relationship and seeing how I acted, and even because I journaled so much about it and so much through it, that I can see like I was just like, you weren't being irrational, you weren't being crazy, like you should have just said whatever you had to say, and that's it, you know. And I think those are things that you learn about as you grow as a woman and as you go through like more relationships, and especially when you're in a relationship with an older man, it might seem like, or when you're in a relationship with anybody that can seem like they know more than you or a stronger personality than you. If you're more like nonchalant, more relaxed, and you're dating somebody that's like a Leo, or like somebody who's dating a Leo, yeah, or somebody who has a very strong character or very confident, like exudes confidence when they speak, even if you know almost at times they're wrong, but you're just like, oh, but they seem so sure of themselves. Yeah, I think that you tend to like second guess yourself a little bit more, and you shouldn't. As a woman, you shouldn't, because no matter how much like a guy knows more or does this or does that, like you are still valuable to the relationship. You hold just as much value to that relationship, and you should like live up to that. And I think that's something that we learn later on that I wish that I knew before.
I think that's just in every stage of like any relationship. Like once you finish a relationship, you realize, or like sometimes I think of how different I was at the beginning of my relationship to where I am now. Like there's always this level of like not insecurity, but like you want to make sure that you're doing everything possible to make the relationship work. Yeah. So sometimes that means being more flexible, and like women tend to like second guess themselves so much more than men, right? And I think it's important for you to know when to compromise. But equally important, like, is for you to know when to stand your ground. And it doesn't mean that you're coming off as a bitch. It doesn't mean you're type A personality. It doesn't mean that you're, like, all these things that are, like, negative connotations that they give to women, like, when they're just being, you know, a stronger personality or sticking to their grounds. I think if you know something in your heart is true, or it's something that you're not willing to compromise on, I think it's very, very important that you state that early on in the relationship. And it's not like, oh, I just want him to fall in love and it's all magic and butterflies in the beginning, and then later out, you know, once he's really comfortable with me and loves me, then I'll tell him that this upsets me. I think it's very important to know how to like massage that conversation and to get it out. Get it out very early on, because once it's like with anything, right? If you don't show people what your boundaries are from the beginning, even at your workplace, with your friendships, people will take advantage of that. And it's not even like as a negative thing.
Or it's not even that they want to take advantage of it. Sometimes they do it without even thinking like I'm taking advantage of it. It's just because you've allowed it to happen.
And say whatever bothers you early on. Learn how to pick your battles. Don't fight about everything. And that's one thing that that's been difficult for me. I think I'm somebody that wants to make sure that she's never being a pushover, to the extent that it's like complete opposite of pushover. Like I'm the one pushing the other person over.
I push my boyfriend over. I'm a pusher.
I'm like pushing. Like, and so I think it's equally as important to know when it's like you're not always right, and that's one thing I've learned in this relationship. Like, it helps when you have somebody that's like confident enough and is willing to work with you. So it's like a give and take.
That's when someone loves you. Or
true.
Somebody wants to be in a relationship, like they're willing to work for it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I think that we've been in enough relationships, or just like even, you know, like
exchange
interactions with the opposite sex. And I think you just know, like I think and there's this quote that I really like that's you can never say the wrong thing to the right person, right? And trust your intuition. If you think something's weird, if you think the guy doesn't like, if you're asking yourself, does he really like me? Red flag. Red flag, red flag.
I think with that we're gonna pause and keep drinking our wine. And if you guys like videos like this, or if you guys like us to like sit down and talk to you about experiences, we're more than happy to do it again. I hope that you like this video, and I hope that it helped you, and I don't know, give you like some perspective. If you're going through, you're dating somebody that's older than you, if you're dating somebody with kids, if you're dating someone that's your best friend's brother, there's a lot here.
Or if you're dating somebody who has a very strong character, maybe a little bit more overbearing than you.
Yeah.
And if you have any,
Fatima.
Andrew. She's honestly gonna die after this video.
Barely touched the surface on this topic. I feel like because I have like so much footage that I'm like scared to edit it. But we can keep doing it if you want to. But anyway, I'll see you as always. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next time.